Nino Mbata entered a police station carrying a human leg and confessed that he was tired of eating human flesh. Top 10 most shocking crimes in Africa that will leave you speechless. Welcome to Sabi Girl Stories, your one-stop channel for the most intriguing, funny, eerie, and jaw-dropping stories from Nigeria and Africa at large. Today we are going to uncover 10 of the most shocking true crimes ever committed in Africa. From unsolved mysteries to notorious serial killers, each of these cases will reveal a darker side to the human psyche. Prepare yourselves for a journey into horror, suspense, and mystery. And as always, I hope you learn one or two things that would help you keep safe out there. Number 1. The Krugersdorp Killers, South Africa. We start with the case of the Krugersdorp Killers, also known as Electus Pardeus, or Chosen by God. Led by Cecilia Stein, this cult-like group terrorized the small town of Krugersdorp, committing a series of ritualistic murders between 2012 and 2016. Stein, a manipulative figure with a strange hold over her followers, convinced them that they were waging a holy war. Their targets were individuals they believed were evil, resulting in the brutal deaths of at least 11 people. This case is infamous, not only for the gruesome nature of the murders, but also for the shocking psychological control Stein held on her followers, many of whom acted on her instructions without hesitation. Their first victim was a high school teacher who had been friends with Stein, but as suspicions mounted, the cult grew bolder, moving on to random victims in the community. One of the most shocking aspects of this case was the methodical, almost ritualistic way in which the killings were carried out. The group carried out their murders, leaving symbols and messages meant to strike fear. Their trial was a national sensation in South Africa, with chilling testimonies from members about how Stein manipulated them into believing they were divinely ordained. This case remains one of South Africa's most disturbing crime stories. Number 2. The Black Axe Cult members, Nigeria. The Black Axe Cult is a notorious criminal organization that has left a trail of terror, violence, and mystery across Nigeria. Originally established as a student fraternity in the 1970s, the Black Axe evolved into a highly secretive and brutal gang. Over the years, they have been implicated in numerous violent crimes, both within Nigeria and abroad. These groups' members are known to swear an oath of secrecy, and their operations are often cloaked in sinister rituals that add to the horrifying nature of their crimes. Black Axe initiation ceremonies are rumored to be disturbing and symbolic, often involving intense physical trials and acts of violence. Once inside, members are expected to prove their loyalty with acts of brutality. Their reach is international, with recent arrests in the US and Europe exposing their involvement in extensive criminal networks beyond Africa's borders. The group's chilling slogans, such as "If you price, you pay," serves as a grim reminder of their ruthlessness. An example of their crimes, according to Wikipedia, is a happening on 10 July 1999 when 40 members of the Black Axe drove to Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife. Holding guns, shotguns, and hatchets, they called out to specific students, saying things like, "Pharaoh, come out if you're a man. Legacy, come out if now your father born you." Black Axe members entered the students' residence, killing 5 and injuring 11 people. It was indeed a very dark and horrific day for students in that school. And in 2021 and 2022, Interpol arrested 75 suspected members of the Black Axe for trying to wire $1 million over many bank accounts. These operations spanned 4 countries in 4 continents. Along with cars and luxury items, Interpol agents seized 12,000 SIM cards that helped identify many suspects. These are just few of the examples of these violent cult turned sophisticated criminal network activities. Number 3. The Westgate Mall Attack, Kenya. The Westgate Mall attack remains one of Kenya's darkest and most horrifying moments. On September 21, 2013, shoppers at Nairobi's upscale Westgate Mall were caught in a nightmare when Al-Shabaab militants stormed the building, launching a brutal siege that lasted for 3 whole days. Over 60 people were killed, and the tragedy unfolded on live television as Kenyans and the world at large watched in horror. The attack highlighted the vulnerability of public spaces and left a permanent scar on the whole nation. During the attack, civilians were forced to hide in bathrooms, storage areas, and under the tables as gunmen moved through the mall indiscriminately shooting. The attackers used horrifying techniques, torturing some victims and targeting those that they suspected of being non-Muslim. Survivor stories describe harrowing hours spent in terror as they waited for help. The mall siege was eventually ended by the Kenyan security forces, but the trauma it inflicted on survivors continues to live on. Number 4. The albino ritual murders, Tanzania. In Tanzania, numerous ritualistic murders of albinos in connection with their body parts have shocked the world. In some communities, albino body parts are believed to hold magical properties, capable of bringing wealth and luck. This tragic misconception has led to the brutal killing and dismemberment of countless albino individuals, primarily in the rural regions. Despite strict government regulations and efforts to stop these horrific crimes, many live in fear, hiding to escape death. The town of Unguwo became infamous after several albino individuals were reported missing, only to be later found dismembered. Witch doctors who exploited these beliefs are often suspected of orchestrating these killings, convincing their clients that the body parts from albinos possess powerful magical properties. Human rights organizations have continuously called for more protection for these vulnerable individuals as they face discrimination and life-threatening dangers in their own communities. Number 5. The cannibal case of Nino Mbata, South Africa. One of South Africa's most disturbing cases came to light in 2017 when Nino Mbata entered a police station carrying a human leg and confessed that he was tired of eating human flesh. This shocking statement led police to uncover an entire cannibalism ring operating in the town of Escort. Mbata, along with several accomplices, were accused of killing people for ritualistic purposes, consuming parts of their bodies, and even selling human flesh. As authorities investigated, they discovered several body parts at the homes of Mbata and his associates. Mbata claimed that he was acting under the instructions of a traditional healer who convinced him that cannibalism would bring him prosperity. The community was outraged and many people demanded justice, not only for the victims, but to prevent similar atrocities in the future. The case became a chilling symbol of how harmful superstitions can lead to unspeakable acts. Number 6. The Gikondo Compound Torture Chambers, Rwanda. Rwanda's Gikondo compound, infamously known as the House of Torture, was revealed to be a place of unimaginable suffering and abuse. Originally built as a detention center for petty criminals, reports emerged detailing horrific accounts of torture, overcrowding, and inhumane treatment inflicted upon detainees. Many victims were street vendors, homeless individuals, or perceived as undesirables who were kept in cells for months, enduring brutal interrogation and conditions. Survivors recounted being crammed into tiny cells with dozens of people forced to stand or sit in cramped spaces, often without access to food or water. They were subjected to severe beatings and even mock executions. Human rights organizations have reported on the horrors of Gikondo, with witnesses detailing the systematic abuse carried out under the pretense of cleaning up Rwanda's streets. The compound has been condemned worldwide, though reports suggest it continues to operate under harsh conditions. Number 7. The kidnapping and murder of Hannah Cornelius, South Africa. The abduction and murder of Hannah Cornelius is a tragic reminder of the extreme violence faced by South African youth. In 2017, Cornelius, a 21-year-old university student, was carjacked by a gang along with her friend, Cheslin Marsh. Armed with weapons, the gang forced Cheslin into the back seat and then the trunk, while Hannah was restrained between the two front seats. The four-man gang attacked Cheslin with bricks and left him believed to be dead. He would later survive, albeit with significant injuries, while Hannah was taken to a secluded area next to a vineyard and a stream. She was molested, stabbed in the neck, and murdered with a very large rock. After this, the gang pursued further crimes, targeting another woman before eventually being apprehended by the police. They were identified as Vernon Whitbu, Geraldo Parsons, Nashville Julius, and Eben van Meerbeek. The four perpetrators were tried and sentenced in 2018 with a combined term of 358 years. Hannah's story has since become a symbol in the fight against gender-based violence in South Africa. Number 8. The Okija Shrine Killings, Nigeria. In 2004, police in Nigeria uncovered the shocking secrets of the Okija Shrine, a place of worship in Anambra State that was also the site of countless ritual killings. Over 50 decaying corpses and human skulls were found scattered around the shrine, many of them victims of ritual sacrifice linked to disputes, land conflicts, and power struggles. The discovery sent shock waves across Nigeria, exposing the darker side of some traditional practices. The Okija Shrine served as both a religious site and a place for resolving disputes. Wealthy and powerful individuals reportedly visited the shrine to settle conflicts, often at the cost of human lives. Victims were brought to the shrine, where they were ritually killed as offerings to the deities. Some were drugged, while others were executed in gruesome ceremonies meant to appease the gods or curse their enemies. Investigators found bodies in various stages of decomposition, including several that had been mummified for display. The incident highlighted the tension between traditional beliefs and the modern law enforcement in Nigeria, as authorities struggled to bring the perpetrators to justice while respecting cultural sensitivities. Number 9. The cyanide murder plot in Harare, Zimbabwe. In Harare, Zimbabwe, a cyanide poisoning plot targeting gold miners revealed a web of greed, betrayal, and calculated murder. In 2019, a gang seeking control over lucrative mining operations began poisoning rival miners, leading to agonizing deaths. This case shocked the nation not just for its brutality, but for the cold precision with which it was executed. The gang operated by infiltrating gold mining camps and contaminating the water supply with cyanide. When miners consumed the poisoned water, they would suffer painful convulsions before succumbing to organ failure. At least 20 people died and several others were hospitalized before authorities uncovered the plots. Investigations revealed that the perpetrators were hired by a powerful syndicate seeking control over the illegal mining trade. This case highlighted the dangerous and unregulated world of illegal gold mining in Zimbabwe, where fortunes are often made at the cost of human lives. Number 10. The serial murders of Moses Sithole, South Africa. One of the most infamous serial killers in Africa, Moses Sithole, also known as the South African Strangler, terrorized the country in the 1990s. Sithole preyed on women, luring them with promises of jobs, only to take them to remote areas where he would assault and strangle them. By the time he was caught, he had claimed the lives of over 30 women, making him one of Africa's most prolific and terrifying killers. Sithole's modus operandi was cruelly manipulative. He targeted vulnerable women desperate for work in the post-apartheid South Africa. Many of his victims' families never suspected Sithole, as he came across as polite and well-spoken. His arrest revealed a chillingly meticulous individual who had kept records of his victims. To this day, Sithole's name evokes horror across the country. In some cases, Sithole would later phone victims' families for no other apparent reason than to taunt them. At one point, even the country's president had to visit Boksburg, where some of the crimes were committed in person, to appeal for public assistance in apprehending the killer. On his arrest, Sithole was also found to be HIV positive and tested positive for tuberculosis as well. These cases represent only a fraction of the tragic and disturbing crimes that have left a lasting impact on communities across Africa. Each story serves as a grim reminder of humanity's potential for darkness, even on our beautiful African soil. But they also highlight the strength of those who have survived and continued to fight for justice. If you found this video intriguing, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into true crime stories from this channel. Let us know in the comments which case left you speechless.